All right, welcome back to the Nerd Note, episode 13. Today we're going to be talking about inbound marketing. I'm your host, Connor, the social media manager at Bard Marketing, and I'm joined by my co-host, Matt, and our subject matter expert, Jonathan. All right, so as we said, we're going to be talking about inbound marketing today. First of all, Jonathan, do you want to introduce yourself as you're the one who's going to be talking about that the most here?
Yes. So I am the production manager here. I handle a lot of the writing along with Connor and our producer Lauren, who's in the booth today. So basically, we're responsible for creating any or all kinds of content, whether it's written, video, photos, graphics, whatever we make it. So we're going to talk about the difference between inbound and outbound marketing and how we use those different deliverables to achieve both inbound and outbound marketing goals.
That's great. So I think the best place to start is for you, probably for the audience that doesn't know, what is inbound marketing?
So let's start with what people are familiar with, and that would be what we call outbound marketing. So that's going to be stuff that's out in your face, ads, TV commercials, anything that is kind of pushed out towards you. But it's mostly going to be in the form of ads or you can get emails, text messages as well. The inverse of that is inbound marketing, and that is pushing stuff out there that attracts your audience, and it's not exactly going out there to be in their face and be like, hey, look at us, this is what we do. It's more being like putting out educational, entertaining content, and people will decide for themselves once they've done enough research whether or not they'll actually buy from you. So that builds more trust, that leads to more repeat customers over outbound marketing, which is, like I say, kind of a spray and pray.
Right.
You're just putting all kinds of stuff out there and hoping people will come back, whereas inbound is more laying a trap, I guess.
Yeah, so it's the people that are interested in what you're doing coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like though? Like what would that actually look like as a deliverable on the internet?
As far as like building trust and all that, like, so a lot of what we do would be publishing a blog online, and then we can do a slight email announcement. We just see the blog
yeah.
for the camera. We're all distracted.
I'm waiting to catch it.
Wow.
Anywho,
our special guest,
Mothman.
Anyway.
So you can do a little bit of a combination with your inbound and outbound marketing. So once you've published something that you do find valuable for your audience or your client base, you can send that out there as kind of like a, hey, check this out kind of thing. Here's some more information for you. Those emails can be based on previous actions. So you're only sending them to people who have already visited your site or already clicked on a specific link. That kind of stuff is kind of a mix of inbound, outbound, but I think it achieves more of a goal of inbound than it's more focused towards inbound than it is outbound. It's just kind of getting it delivered a little more.
Well, even like this particular podcast.
Yeah.
So we're giving information out to our customers. We're not saying, hey, you should buy this.
Right.
And then if the customer sees value in this, they may get an ad based on watching more than 50% of this particular podcast.
Right.
So it's information. We're not trying to ask people to buy our services. We're saying, here's what we can do. And then if it's of value to them at that point, they'll make a decision.
Yeah.
And that may be, a harder to sell product where it's not an impulse buy. It may take a lot more of the content and inbound in order to convert that to a lead. So a mortgage refi is going to be very hard to do.
Yeah.
Medicine's very hard to, you just say, hey, click here and buy this. But if you educate people on what it can do for long periods of time through different content mix, then when they're ready, if that's something of value, then they would be more interested.
Yeah, and that's a good point because we've talked a lot about how a lot of the time people are not ready to buy what
it's just not the right
pushing.
time.
It's not the right time, but you want to be the first one on their mind.
Right.
So with inbound, people see they see your stuff, they see what you're talking about, the information you're providing, and then when it is time, if something comes up or a situation changes, if you're the first one on their minds, you're kind of
Yep.
in the clear there.
Yep. And it's already an established sort of relationship between you and them. They've already got the buy-in, and it's just a matter of delivering and keeping them happy.
And then, so obviously with the mixture of inbound and outbound, is there like a certain, like how much of your strategy and effort do you want to be dedicating towards inbound or outbound or?
I would say the vast majority of our stuff is inbound focused. Most of the outbound stuff will have inbound content around it. We do a lot of ebooks that we'll send people to our website and download. Sometimes we'll add some sort of promotion onto the download, like, we'll get a free Google Home or a free IT or like an IT network assessment or cybersecurity assessment. We'll do those kinds of promotions, but it's not like an in-your-face like flash sale, 50% off.
Yeah, right.
No contract type stuff. So yeah, it's a healthy mix of both, but the vast majority of our stuff will at least have some sort of inbound type of content within it.
Right. Yeah.
And we're always trying to target specific people. Whereas outbound, like I said earlier, more of the spray and pray. You've got a larger audience. Say if you get you've got a larger profit margin on your service or what have you, then you care less about the click-through rate than you might with a smaller,
Right.
more targeted campaign.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Especially when you have like a service. I find that a service, people want to know more about it before they make a decision. Generally, services cost more than products. Going to a restaurant, the service is probably a little more than just going to a fast food, getting something equal. So the service is going to have more inbound in the strategy than a product. With that said, even if it's a product and you just run ads for a very big audience, it's going to be expensive. And like Jonathan said, your click-through rate is going to be very low because how many people are in a position to want that product right now, even if it's a good product? If this is a great water, but I'm not thirsty, then I'm not really a buyer. So what happens is with inbound, you send a bunch of content out there to educate people on the product. And then when they're ready, now you can run ads only to people that are interested and have taken an interest in your content. So now your ads are more effective because you are able to serve those ads to only people somewhat interested,
Right.
instead of the whole net. So content allows them to follow you like a yellow brick road. And so then you serve the ads. So you can get a lot more use of dollars that way
Right.
on ads.
And just to clarify a little bit, when we mean like inbound and outbound, we talk about like the inbound stuff we're publishing online, but then we're still sending it out.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily make it outbound marketing.
Right. Right.
And the inverse too, just because we're sending it out doesn't necessarily mean it's not inbound as well. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's very confusing because inbound, outbound.
Right,
You would
yeah.
think inbound is like a lead coming in,
Yeah, right.
and you would think outbound is you're sending something. Inbound is more, I'm going to let them come to me instead of me come to them,
Yeah.
and convince them to buy it.
Right.
So it is a different way of thinking about
Yeah.
inbound,
I
outbound.
was going to say outbound's a little more aggressive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
Makes sense.
from my own experience, inbound, like creating like deliverables for inbound definitely feels better.
yes, yeah.
I don't
it's
like
less sketchy.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
outbound, you're going to be like your mattress commercials, your used car
Yeah.
commercials.
Right.
That is
Yep.
quintessential outbound
Yeah.
aggressive marketing.
I think often, correct me if I'm wrong, but inbound marketing also may be referred to as soft touch marketing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Soft touch.
That's what we've
So
heard.
it's just not
Gentle.
a hard conversion. It's not a, hey, I want to sell you this right now. It's, let me tell you why our water's better. And then,
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. And then when you do want water, now you can think, and you see them all at the gas station lined
Right.
up, you go, okay, I want that one.
Yeah. Right.
Get that soft touch.
Yes.
It turns into an ASMR podcast real quick. So, I mean, do you have how much? Like, have you seen a lot of success with inbound then versus outbound?
Oh yeah. Some of our larger SEO clients, we've had a lot of inbound success with blog campaigns. We post a lot on Google Business, so just kind of putting all kinds of stuff out there. Videos we'll post on their website, put those in Google Business. So all that is to say, we have several blogs ranking like number 1 to top 5 for some pretty high volume keywords in some pretty competitive industries. One of our clients ended up with, what's your note here? 12 keywords ranking number 1 and 15 in the top 3. So that was pretty unheard of, at least for me in my 4 years here. So yeah, that's definitely some success, and not the only successes we had.
Right. And one thing, actually, you bringing up those examples reminded me. You mentioned the blogs that we have at number 1. One thing that's important, I think, when you're doing inbound is you can get a blog to number 1, but you sort of want to make sure that their services page or their shopping page still has more visitors. Mm-hmm. That I feel like that sort of shows that you're bringing them in with information they want, and then you're directing them to the right place.
Anytime we notice a blog is performing, we definitely want to make sure that it's got big calls to action that lead wherever we need them to go, whether it's a service page, contact page, product page. And make them big and obvious for the people coming through there. Yeah.
Well, and Google Analytics does a really good job of, you can create like a GA event from the blog pages that if they click on the services, so maybe it wasn't a conversion,
right?
But it was a event tracking from that blog over to an event,
okay,
that you want to monitor. And so if you have all those GA events set up, you can see what people are doing as they're doing, and then you can tweak the content. So if you have a blog where you're getting a lot of traffic and you think it may be good intentful traffic, meaning they have some reason to use your service or buy your product, and the events for that page are low, then you can go in and reword the blog, not hurting its ranking, but in adding more value on why you guys can help with whatever that blog topic is.
Okay.
So to help increase the conversion of a blog reader to someone interested in your company. So you're really dancing with that line right there.
So then obviously we've talked about smaller, more targeted audiences for inbound marketing. Usually we work with small businesses, so maybe they have a very specific service they're trying to push, and inbound might be, or a very specific audience they're trying to reach. Mm-hmm. And inbound might be a good option. Would you be able to give some examples of what, like a campaign, like very basic framework of
like an inbound campaign for one of our typical clients kind of thing? So we'll decide on a piece of content first, whether it's going to be blog, informational page, ebook, video, whatever. We make that, and then we basically, I should back up a minute. We have buyer personas for all of our clients that we establish at the very beginning of our relationship. So we first going to work with, find out which of those personas we're targeting. But generally, it will start with content. It will be sent out in one way or another, usually multiple ways: email, social media, which social media also counts as inbound marketing when it's just like organic posts and stuff like that. Yeah. Ads, obviously not, but social is a great inbound tool. That you'll usually get sent out over multiple channels, and then from there, if the user finds it interesting, they click, they go to the landing page. From there, they get the tracking pixel that Matt just talked about, and then from there, we can kind of get a little aggressive with some targeted ads, but those ads are only sent to people that already expressed interest by clicking the blog or watching the video for a specific amount of time. Because that's the thing, is you don't have to watch the whole video. You can set different trigger points, so they only watched 5% of it.
Right.
But you can target, as long as you put the video on YouTube, you can target the duration or percentage of completed duration. Okay. So the retargeting ads are really good, and like I said, a little less of a spammy ad if the person already had some interest because they watched all the video.
Right.
And it'll be tied to the content in one way or another. It's not like a complete standalone ad. Yeah. It's going to have some sort of visual tie back or whatever, depending on what it is. Yeah. But
I feel like most companies, the biggest hurdle small businesses have is obscurity. And so, people don't want to be sold, they want to buy.
Right.
So if you're researching X topic and you come across a blog where someone is clearly informed in what they do, now you have more trust in using that company. So let's say you're just in the research stage of something and you're researching and you're clicking all these blogs and you're reading all these things. And you ended up on a blog and you read the full thing and you were there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then you got an ad a week later for that with an offer. A little less of a spam because you had some intent because you searched it up.
Right.
As opposed to it just came to you randomly.
Yeah. I mean, if you're spending that much time on a blog, you clearly needed an answer.
Right.
If they're able to provide that answer, definitely more likely to trust.
If you're a thought leader, a thought leader, that you're going to get more trust and credibility within your prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing I was actually wondering about is, so before the early 2000s, inbound marketing was not really much of a thing. It was pretty much outbound marketing, right? Inbound marketing.
Less competition.
Exactly. So now we're entering an era where, technology is still going crazy. There's new developments every single day. Do you think that inbound marketing is going to sort of still stay as prominent as it is now in 10 years, 20 years? Or do you think we might see something or see some big changes in the future?
Subliminal marketing will definitely be a thing here shortly.
What do you mean by that?
I'm mostly being facetious, but they'll find ways to make us think of products without actually thinking of them.
Well, they'll manipulate the AI.
Yeah.
Everyone's so interested and intrigued by AI, the Chat GPT. But what happens when the ads are inherently in it, and the answer you're getting is no longer authentic, but it's been influenced by advertiser dollars? And that's one of the big concerns I've got in AI. But
even like social media can get astroturfing like crazy about different products or ads. Twitter, Reddit, whatever are filled with like product placement type of posts that aren't blatantly ads, but like you can definitely clear it with someone from marketing who wrote something flattering about something that's completely irrelevant. It could get sneakier. I can
I've definitely noticed that already, like you were saying with Reddit and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I can see the pendulum going the other way and getting back to like super in your face ads because there's going to be such noise everywhere.
Yeah.
You've got to be more and more ridiculous. It might seem like, look at it. I don't watch a whole lot of TV with commercials, but when they're on, boy, are they obnoxious now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just seem obnoxious because we've been away from it for so long.
That too,
Yeah.
And as a consumer, I hope this isn't the case, but they're going to be everywhere. They're going to be like, you can't do certain things. They're going to be like, you can't watch your TV until you watch this 30-second ad. You can't open your fridge. You can't turn your lights on.
That's how when the internet was just getting going, they had an email platform called Juno. You guys remember Juno?
Mm-mm.
So Juno was a free email, and the way it worked, you got the disk or whatever, and you installed it, and your email was no cost, but while you were on it, you had to watch their ads. So, and there was a browser that had the same extension, like a GeoCities type thing. The longer you watch the ad, you install it, the longer you did it, the more money you got. And it was like $0.01 a minute or something. So if you're up there, on the internet for long periods of time, you might get a check for $60, $70. But I think inbound is super huge. We've got ad blockers. More and more people are using ad blockers.
Mm-hmm.
And so ads just aren't being received as well. You've got social media platforms with iOS version 16 starting to be restricted to gathering information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't gather the information from the platform as an advertiser, I can't say let's start to target this demographic or this interest, because now those are all private. I better create my own content to draw my own audience to segment down to my interested people. And you better do it yourself, not relying on the platform. And so I think ad blockers and authentic content will build trust in your audience, and you'll get more conversion. So we usually run ads that are more of a brand awareness ad. Let people know we're there, don't try to really push your product on them. You're never really going to push someone to be convinced to spend several grand a month. Right. It's just, I mean, either want it and see value or they don't.
Yeah.
But letting them know you're there if they're in the shopping and research stage is critical. So you do your content, you do your brand awareness ads, and then your retargeting ads. And then with email drips, good blogs, good social media, it can all come together.
Right.
But anyways, I think to answer your question, I think inbound will go up.
Okay.
I think advertising and outbound will go up as well.
Yeah, just more in general.
More in general, all across the board. And I also think as you think about age groups, and you think about the people who grew up with the internet, not with having TV, and as every year goes on, the older demographics pass away, the younger come in. You're going to be more people that are a research-intense buyer. I mean, I think some of the reason Amazon did so well before they had the same-day deliveries, it was just an e-com store that had a bunch of stuff. They did really well because their reviews. Everyone wanted to see the review. I can go into the store and I see a product and it could be even less expensive, but I want to know what the reviews are. So we're in an age where the research and reviews are critical, and so I think having content out there helps the researchers understand how you're different from your competition. What is the unique selling proposition of your service or product? And you have to educate that buyer through content.
Yeah.
They're not going to call you to ask those questions.
Right.
They're going to look for them online. If they don't
want
find
it
them,
quick.
they're on it. Well, it's not so much that they want them quick. They don't want to have to call an 800 number and wait for 2 hours.
That's a good point.
They want to be able to do their research on their own time, potentially and likely after hours.
Yeah.
Where your website's still up and running, but your staff are not. So they want to be able to go online and see and research everything you offer, and more importantly, how you're different than your competition.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of things to go into, but I think overall in general, because the research era is moving up and consuming more of the general populace, I think we're going to see more online than the traditional marketing and advertising.
Yeah. And to add on to that a little bit, I think people, on our end, and a salesperson being able to make a personal connection is vital, obviously. But on the consumer's end, I feel like most people don't want to be connected with somebody when they're doing that research. They don't want somebody to be ready to fire back with something. I feel like they want to be able to do it themselves, make their own opinion without that person on the other end trying to influence them.
Yeah. Well, I think it also depends on the product. For example,
that's true. Yeah.
If you're buying jewelry, you may want to go to a store and you may want that personal touch. That's why Tiffany's, for example, does so well.
Yeah.
It's that personal touch, and it's real and X, Y, and Z. I don't know that you're going to see jewelry ads necessarily for small brands that don't have the brick and mortars.
Right.
But yeah, depending on the product.
Depending
on the product. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions that I was wanting to ask you. Matt, I don't know, did you have any other questions for Jonathon or anything you were thinking of?
No, I guess we'll see how AI impacts inbound marketing. I think AI could, if AI meets the marketing automation to where email drip campaigns are automatically built, where blogs are automatically built. So, and there was something I read not long ago, and I don't even want to try to remember it, but it was like a website was built 6,000 landing pages or blogs in a few minutes using AI. Not just the content, but the content, the posting, the whole thing. When that happens, it will water out probably the blog because there's going to be so much. And I think the question is, how are you going to stand out in that crowd? How will you, what is, if all your competition are all producing 10,000 blogs a month, how is that going to work? I think there's the element of SEO and the element outside of SEO, things you can do, the domain age,
Google's going to come up with a way to detect AI created pages.
Yeah, it has to be.
But even Connor, I kind of laughing earlier, the way that AI language models are now sourcing each other because there's so much out there already. I'd say within probably less than 2 years, it's just going to be a big crapshoot
It's
about
kind of like the
alphabet
game of
soup.
telephone.
You'll
right?
get a news
I
article.
tell
and
you
it's
a
like,
message, you tell him the message, you tell it
Yeah.
to Lauren,
Yeah.
and it moves on.
You
Well,
do the same with Google Translate. You just go from language
Right.
to language, and you end up with something completely
and you can go all the way back to
unintelligible.
the original language, and
Yeah.
it does nothing close to what it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think with AI you do that, and it gets like I think I told you guys before. Back in the day, you get a cassette, you want to copy it, you had the whole recorder and the play. You hit play and record at the same time. Well, every time you did that, you lost some of the quality. And then if Jonathan made one for you, and then you made one for me off of yours, it just gets less and less quality. So yeah, I that'll be interesting. So either it'll be over quick, it'll
Yeah.
be a wave and over quick,
Yeah.
or they'll figure out a way around that, and then we're gonna have to figure out, for our clients, how do we stand out and put their blogs
Yeah.
above? And I think it could be a simple thing where there's a badge that says this was written by a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like made in America. Well,
Yeah.
if we're gonna put badges out there like that, maybe we're gonna put
Made
that on
by
the content.
humans.
I was thinking about that.
This is
at one point.
dystopian. Made by humans.
Yeah. So no, I think otherwise I think it's just a great topic, and I think this is a really good strategy for most small medium businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Word.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my closing quiet for Soft Touch Marketing. So thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been great.
Oh man.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.